Back, everyone. Can vitamin supplements keep us younger longer? According to a recent study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, people who took a multivitamin daily had younger DNA. Here with more natural health information is natural health care expert Mark Mincolla. It's nice to see you, Mark.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Younger DNA. Boy, isn't that what we
Younger
all want?
Younger DNA,
huh?
prolonging the cell life is what it's all about.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because age really is just a state of mind. You just want to make your
Absolutely
body
right.
be something else, right?
Absolutely right.
So do you think that these multivitamins were responsible for that?
Well, the study really suggests that there are certain vitamins. They found that vitamin B12, vitamin C, vitamin E, in this particular study, really lengthened these protective agents within our DNA that did seem to increase the prospect for longevity and really lower risks for heart disease and communicable diseases and immunity problems, et cetera, by as much as 800%.
Wow. Is it turning back time, or is it just making things better?
Great question. The vitamin B12 actually turned back time. There are protective agents called telomeres, and they found that the vitamin B12 actually added to and fortified the telomeres. Whereas the vitamin C and the vitamin E actually stop them from being reduced.
Now, Mark, what are you talking about? I mean, you know, if you're someone 45 years old, could you possibly be someone 30? I mean, what could your DNA be?
Well, this particular study said, hey, we were looking at 65 to 75-year-olds, but previous studies and other studies are finding that, indeed, at the age of 30, that process starts to kind of deteriorate and break down so that folks, even at the age of 30, can benefit from this kind of support system for their DNA.
Are there better supplements out there than others?
That's the $64,000 question. I think that there are certain supplements that are better formulated. There's a lot of rip-offs out there these days, a lot of kind of fast approaches to just putting up a vitamin company and selling an inexpensive sort of compromised formula. But I think there are some great trade names out there. I think most folks are familiar when you go into most of the health food chains that there are some really reliable names with great formulations. Some of those are really cautiously formulated. Big difference.
Do you want to take a multi, or maybe do you want to take these specific, you know, B, E, C? What do you think?
Well, again, this American Journal of Clinical Nutrition study that we talked about earlier said, hey, we're looking at the multi, and the key in the multi was the vitamin B12, the vitamin C, and the vitamin E. But other studies have found fish oils, for example, have made a difference.
Right.
The University of California, San Francisco did the fish oil study. There have been vitamin A studies, studies about glutathione, carnitine, CoQ10. All of these studies have found the very same thing, that indeed they have the ability to either lengthen the support system of our DNA and to kind of support the longevity factor, or at least keep it from wearing down.
All right, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about when you take your supplement. Number one, some reports say you should take it in the evening so it's in your body all night.
Right.
Others say you should take it in the morning. Is there a better time?
Well, if we're talking about a multivitamin, you really want to make sure it's after a protein meal, because if you don't have proteins, there's no shuttle service. So these vitamins really need to be carried off in a shuttle fashion and delivered so that they're better absorbed and better assimilated. So if you're going to have egg whites at breakfast, if you're going to have a protein shake at breakfast, absolutely great. After breakfast, let that protein shuttle it. If not, if you're having toast, if you're having tea, spare it until after you're going to have that tuna fish sandwich or after you're going to have that chicken dinner.
I did not know that. That is an amazing piece of information. Should you take it in a pill form or a capsule?
Well, I think, you know, some folks are sensitive to capsules. A lot of those capsules, unfortunately, are gel formulas, and a lot of folks are allergic or sensitive to those formulas. So it really depends from person to person. But generally speaking, I'd recommend the better brands that we talked about, and to recommend a tablet as opposed to a capsule.
Okay. What about food? Can you get equally as great benefits through different kinds of foods?
Well, once again, studies have proven that calorie restriction, of all things, is probably one of the most important factors to preserve our genetic aging response. Also, you know, the idea of using exercise as a genetic protective agent, really important. So foods, yeah, fruits, vegetables were huge on the list, of course. Right. What a surprise there.
Right.
And, of course, calorie restriction is a big issue. But exercise was an equal issue. Not smoking. All these common sense issues really came into play in a lot of German studies and a lot of studies at the University of California that show that we can really affect our aging clocks by doing the right thing.
Well, you know, I was asked one time to take a test, and they ask you all kinds of questions like that to determine. Now, this wasn't a physical, you know, test.
It had to be an insurance test, right?
Actually, I believe it was. But, you know, they asked me a lot of questions like, did I smoke and how much I exercised and what kind of vegetables I ate and fruits and whatnot. But one of the interesting things, too, is they asked me if I wore my seatbelt.
Did they really?
Yes, they did, which
well,
I think that probably has something to do with how long you might live.
We want people to wear their aging seatbelts by eating properly and living right.
Exactly. Great information today. We're so glad to see you, like always.